Radio how it's supposed to be heard. It's the Baka Boyz Show.
What's going on? This is Drip.
Every day.
After the hour, it's the Baka Boyz Show. Thank you for tuning in. We have a very special guest. Get ready to max out. And we're going to welcome you the way we do it. Let's go. Baka Boyz one time. Come on. Well, it's the Baka, baby. It's the Baka Boyz. Everywhere now, everywhere. It's the Baka Boyz. And we got a special guest for you. His name is Ed Mylett. He's in La Casa.
I love it.
Good
Fred
morning.
Sanford. You're bringing me back to Fred Sanford with the
Man,
music.
take it back. Take it back. So you are a super strategist,
Really?
motivational speaker, entrepreneur, born in Diamond Bar. Tell us about being born in Diamond Bar, California.
Lower middle class. I have a great family, but like a lot of people probably listen to this, one of the reasons I'm probably in the motivation space or personal development space, come from a dysfunctional family. My dad, big drinking problem as a kid. He's sober now for like 30 years, but
that's good.
I come from one of those families that's, not everything's perfect.
Yeah.
But best thing about growing up at Dime Bar, I met my wife in kindergarten.
Okay.
Went to high school. My wife and I went to high
In
school together.
kindergarten.
Yeah, you don't hear
Wait
that
a
too much
minute.
anymore.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to that right there.
I know.
Kindergarten. Most people don't meet their soulmate or their significant other till later in life. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's high school or
Yeah.
college or after that or some late night club somewhere.
Strip club.
You know. So you met her at kindergarten. You
Yeah.
guys been together for that long?
Yeah, you break up, when you go to college or whatever, but God's good, man, because I think he'd have known I'd probably be locked up or screwed up somehow, so he kind of locked me in with a good woman when I was really,
Good for you,
really young,
man.
so it's been a blessing. Yeah, we've been together a long time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you're talking to hundreds of thousands of people when you do these events.
Yeah.
How is that? What's the energy there in that room when you're doing this motivational speaking?
Yeah, I've been blessed. Like I went from talking to like 2 people to, now I can get in front of 60, 70,000 at the
Damn.
same time. And it's like probably a lot of the entertainers you've had on. It's an unbelievable rush.
Yeah.
The difference probably is that you kind of have a pretty intimate relationship with people where you're not just performing for them, but maybe you're making a direct impact in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the energy level is really, really high, but also the impact level is. So I think when I'm done, it surprises people. Like I'm drained because you're pouring so much energy into the room, right? Just because that's what people are moved on. They're not moved on words or what they see. They're moved on what they feel. That's why music moves people. It's not necessarily the music or the lyric all the time. It's what those things make you feel.
Right.
And that's what great communicators do. They make you feel something you didn't feel before they were there.
Definitely. I mean, if you look at anybody that's been in like politics, for instance, people that influence people or give them the energy from Martin Luther King to other people that are inspirational. That's a great thing. They got to feel what you're saying. You have to believe it when you're saying it.
Well, that's why you guys are so good. Like you make people feel something. They come to your show to feel better or to laugh or to learn something. But it's funny you say politics because I work with political people on prepping for debates and all that stuff.
Right.
And I've told them every presidential election, you go back the last 40 years, the highest energy candidates won.
Right.
You go all the way back through. The candidate brought higher energy. Reagan had more than Mondale, right? Had more than Carter. Bush, even though he didn't bring a lot of energy, had more than Gore.
Right.
And more than John Kerry. Barack Obama dominated both candidates with his energy. Take Obama or Romney. Obama, way more energy. And even Trump and Hillary, no matter what you think about both of them politically, he had higher energy than her.
Okay, now let's look at what's going on with the politics right now. Like a Bernie Sanders who's out there.
Yeah.
He's an older man, but he's energetic.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch that side because the highest energy candidate, what Bernie has is he has the ability to foster energy in other people, which is super. That's what Barack Obama had. He could bring energy and then he drew energy from people too. So he's a force. This Beto O'Rourke dude, I don't know a lot about him, but there seems to be, the media likes him anyway, so he's going to bring some energy.
For sure.
So we'll see. I'm not sure who it'll be.
Did you ever fear getting in front of all these people?
Yes.
How did you get over that fear? Being a strategist or a person that's going to, make people be better, how'd you get over that fear?
That's a great lesson. I think in your life, probably your greatest dream and your greatest gift is on the other side of maybe your biggest fear. That's the fact. Like, I don't know about you, but you guys have had this gift. There's probably something you are terrified of in doing this. And on the other side of that thing you're the most afraid of is God's greatest gift for you. So for me, I actually went to a seminar because I was so afraid of public speaking with Tony Robbins, who a lot of people would know. Tony's become one of my great friends. In fact, one of the reasons I have a podcast or I'm doing all this is Tony's like, you need to do it years ago. But I went, my phobia was public speaking.
Okay.
Brings you up on the stage, tries to break the phobia, and I give this talk, and then when I'm done, they take the break at lunch, and they say, Mr. Robbins wants to see you backstage. I'm like, whoa, I'm like 22 years old. I go backstage, and he's like, hey, I never say this. I mean, like, never in my career.
Right.
You're gifted and anointed to do this. So please continue to do it. And then 2 years later, I was on a speaking tour with
So
him.
he's seen your potential and enabled you to get over, kind of help you get over that fear of being public speaking.
Yeah, big time. I think what he saw, which is what all great leaders have, is and everyone should listen to this, should just know this. Every human being was born with 2 or 3 gifts, like real gifts. Like God gave you a couple gifts. It could be your speaking ability, your looks, your ability to play music, your thinking skills, your nurturing skills, your kindness, your faith, your ability to problem solve, engineering, like whatever it is, right? Just your intuition. So what he does well is he sees people's gifts. I think like I do that pretty well. And for people listening to this, like ask yourself, what are 2 or 3 of my gifts? Like don't be humble. Like what are some of the things that you were a little boy or little girl, you kind of had a gift for? You're kinder, you're nicer, you're funnier, you're stronger, you're more intense, you're smarter, whatever it is, you're more beautiful. Like what's your gift? And then that's usually the path to making you happy and finding a career that you'd be great at.
Right. You got the book right here. You brought us a couple books, so thank you for that.
Hey.
It's called Max Out Your Life.
Yeah.
Tell us about this book, because it's a thin book.
It's super quick,
It's
man.
a quick, easy read.
Well,
are there any pictures in here by any chance? Like
there
any
are.
drawing pictures or anything?
There's no.
'Cause I'm like Lil Pump. I can't read.
There's
so.
no, but here's the good news. There's no big words either because I don't have any. So I wrote this book. It's quick. And by the way, your audience, I don't sell stuff. So if they go to maxoutbook.com, put in the code MAXOUT, it's free. And there's like, just have the book.
Wow.
Because thank you.
That's
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
I'm a giver. So it's a life strategy book, and so every page, it's only 100 pages. I wrote it because no one wants to read anymore, including me. You can read it in a day. Every single page. I hate reading books that are 300 pages and like every third page has something you'd actually want to read.
Right.
So just every page has stuff that will help you. Very detailed stuff like morning routines, how to change your brain, how to think differently, why your obsessions become your possessions, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How do you reprogram yourself after being programmed, whether it's internally or from the outside? You know, because social media has a bad effect on a lot of people. It's set people in depression because they're seeing what other people are doing and they're comparing themselves. How do you break somebody out of that?
Yeah, well, great question. The quick answer, because we're on the radio, the quick answer is the greatest disease in the world today is the addiction to what other people think about you.
Gotcha.
And social media feeds that. So it's like, how many likes did I get? Comments? Do I look right? What filter do I use on my picture? And so it's built into a culture like what, from reality TV to everything, what do people think about me? That's the symptom. That's not the disease. The disease is actually a lack of self-confidence. People don't feel good. They don't have a good enough reputation with themselves, so they seek approval from other people.
Right.
So if you have children or yourself, like the way you break this is you got to feel better about you. That way your reputation with other people doesn't matter. And the way you do that, one of the quickest ways to change reputation with yourself is to develop more self-confidence. Self-confidence is self-trust. Here's how you get it. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Okay. If you make promises to yourself consistently that you keep, you begin to build a reputation with yourself that you can trust you, and your self-confidence goes through the roof. So if you say, I'm going to get to the gym every day at a certain time, you do it. If you're going to get up at a certain time, if you're going to take a cold shower in the morning, if you're going to eat a certain way, start keeping these small promises you make to yourself. Over time, you're like, man, I do what I say I'm going to do.
Right.
And you start worrying less about what other people think about you because you've lost this disease of not having self-confidence. And so in the book, I actually go tactically through, and my podcast, every week I go through videos on Mondays or Thursdays about how do you build confidence? How do you change your thinking? How do you break your patterns? Because the other thing you said real quick is we all live in patterns.
Yeah.
91% of your thoughts every day are identical to the previous day.
True.
Only a 9% variation. So people think, why is my life like it was a year ago? Because you're thinking the exact same things. You're thinking the same things. So you got to change that variation of those 9% of your thoughts is the separation in your life. And in the book and on my podcast and stuff, I talk about how to change those thoughts.
Okay. Nick V, you got a question over there?
I got a few questions over here. And I think you're going to talk about it in the book, but for those right here, don't worry about the time because we want to spend quality time with you. What are the greatest things you could do every morning for yourself?
Well, the greatest thing you can do every single morning, great question, is that you have a routine. So I believe if you can control the first 30 minutes of your day and the last 30 minutes of your day, there's a higher probability you'll be in control of the middle of it. So most people lose control the minute they wake up. What do most people do? The second they wake up, grab their phone.
Right.
And then what's on there are all the text messages, all the emails, all the problems, and you begin to set a context of your day where I respond. And now you are in response mode constantly throughout the day. You set that culture for your life. Hardest thing you will ever do is to not touch that phone the first 30 minutes of your day. Damon John from Shark Tank and I literally were just talking about this last week. He goes, that's exactly what I do. A-Rod does this, right? J-Lo does. They do not touch their phone the first 30 minutes of the day. Most of my high-end friends, high-end performing friends, don't do this. And so they don't touch their phone. So what I do is I get up, I guess I have a 30-minute routine, man. One of the things I do, sounds crazy, I do a little meditation, I do a gratitude exercise. I flood myself with the things I'm most grateful for. Who loves me? What am I grateful for? What's going good in my life? I do some stretching. Believe it or not, one of my crazy routines is I take something cold. I take a cold shower, a cold plunge, because it alerts your nervous system. It wakes you up immediately. You're fully awake. You've ever woken up tired, like splash some cold water on your face. Even if you do that, your nervous system kicks in. You're totally alert. You're out for the day. Every single cell in your body is alive. And then I usually do something where I review my goals and my outcomes. It's just super quick. You could even do it in 15 minutes. Now I'm in control. Now I'm gonna hit this stupid phone. And now I dictate to the world what I'm gonna do this day. I control my emotions. I control my thoughts. Now what the hell is in this phone that's about to tell me what to think and what to do? I'm in control. And most people go through their whole existence responding to other people.
Yeah.
Never in control. And they feel out of control. Like most people, it's like, I'm not in control.
Right.
It's because you go into this phone the first second you wake up. Just do something. Get a little routine, gratitude, prayer, thoughts, stretching, meditation, take a walk, take a cold shower. In the book, I go through my exact one, but you don't have to have the same one as me, but you got to have a routine, and then you have to have one the last 30 minutes. Put your stupid phone down. What do most people do? Last 30 minutes, last text message of the day.
Right.
That phone, by the way, the blue light on your phone causes you not to have restorative sleep also. So if you would just not look at that screen the last 30 minutes, you'd have deeper sleep alone, because that blue light impacts your brain function and you can't get to deep sleep, or what we call like real beta sleep, real deep sleep. So get rid of that phone the last 30 minutes
That's
too.
my problem. I can't, I don't sleep well.
Yeah,
you know?
well, one of the things for sleep is the room temperature. So the cooler the room is, even though you might not like it, you can keep your blankets on you, but the cooler the room, the deeper the sleep.
Okay.
Obviously not eating right before you go to bed, because digestion is exercise. So while you're digesting the food, your body's not resting. And television, what we call blue light exposure, TV or your phone, awakens your brain. And although you're asleep, your body is not resting.
Gotcha.
Ed Mylett in the studio with the Baka Boyz. How do you manipulate time so you can get everything you want to get done?
Whoa, you've been reading my stuff. Or somebody has.
Have.
What I do is I started to look at the high achievers that I know, happy people. They look at time differently. They bend it and manipulate it. So I started to think, why is a day 24 hours? We've all had a day where like the first half of the day, I got more done in a whole 3-hour window than I did a whole day. Or you've had like a Monday where you're like, I got more done today than I've got done in 2 weeks before. We've all had that. I'm like, so why do I calibrate time in 24 hours? Who the hell made this up? Right? So I'm like, that's not what a day is anymore for me. So for me, I run mini days. Mini days are from 6 a.m. to noon to 6 p.m. And my third day is 6 p.m. to midnight. So I have 3 days in one day.
Wow.
So I literally try to get as much done between 6 a.m. and noon in that 6-hour window that the average person gets done in a full day. And then I have a second day. So I begin to look at days differently in terms of the time. A day for me is 6 hours. It is not 24 hours. And you're going to find when you begin to calibrate time, see, successful people do things faster. Happy people do things faster. They're in a bigger hurry. The people you know that are winning, they walk faster. They talk a little faster. They want to get to their goals and their dreams faster than other people. You have that buddies like, you ever get in, you're like me, but driving behind people on the freeway. How the hell are you going 50 miles an hour in the carpool lane, dude? Like, let's go, right? And I'm like, I already know when I'm behind that person, they're losing. Yeah. Everything is slower to people that lose. Yeah. And so same with time. I'll get to it. I procrastinate. I'll do it tomorrow. My day is 6 a.m. to noon, man. I'm about to come up on my day. And what happens is in my head, it sounds psycho, but you'll build this habit if you start to look at your days in 6-hour windows. This alarm goes off in my head at the top of every hour, man. Like you do on the radio. You kind of know this segment needs to end, right? Okay. So for me, I know when an hour's ending. And at the end of that hour, I'm like, what did I get done this hour? Did I move closer to something? Most people don't do that till New Year's Eve.
Wow.
Or they do it at the end of a month. Or they go, oh, Sunday. What did I accomplish last week?
Push it back, push it back.
Some achievers, like at the end of a day, they take inventory. What if every hour you're like, what did I get done? What did I do? What am I focused on? Am I closer? Do I need to course correct? Do I need to think differently? Do I need to get my shit together? My stuff together right now. Do I need to do that? So I have a clock that goes off every hour.
Wow.
And so time's bent that way.
All right, moving in, procrastination, you brought it up. What is procrastination? For those who do not know that they're procrastinators, please let them know. Alert them right now.
Yeah, procrastination is mainly lack of clarity. So the reason you procrastinate things is you're lacking a couple things. One, you don't know exactly what you want. People are wandering generalities. They're like, I want to lose weight. What the hell does that mean? Exactly how much weight, what body fat, and by when. So if you put deadlines and specificity on it, you'll begin to take action. Your brain can't process vanilla information. Your brain doesn't know what lose weight means. Your brain knows what lose 8 pounds means.
Right.
Your brain knows what 6% body fat means, and they begin to move you towards it. The second reason people procrastinate is they don't have reasons to do something. Big, emotional, compelling reasons will get you to move when you wouldn't otherwise. That's the kicker on goals. What's the reason? Typically, the reason is your dreams and other people. So for example, I'm 48. I'm not the fittest 48-year-old in the world, but I'm a lot more fit at 48 than I was at 28. And the reason is not that I'm disciplined. The reason is that when I was 30, my uncle died of a heart attack, who I look like. I went to a doctor, got my heart scanned. This doctor got leverage and reasons. What would most doctors do? Oh, you got some plaque, take Crestor, see you later.
Right.
Okay, this dude didn't do that. He brings me in, he goes, hey, before I tell you this, are you married? I'm like, yeah. When'd you meet your wife? 5 years old. He goes, how would you feel if another dude were walking around your mansion with her having breakfast someday? I'm like,
whoa.
What the hell did you say?
Damn.
He goes, you got a little girl, I heard. She's a baby. I said, yeah. He goes, how will you feel if another man walks her down the aisle on her wedding day?
Oh, man.
You don't talk to a dad about his girl. I'm like, what the hell is in that scan, dude?
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to listen to me. If you don't change your diet, your nutrition, your workout, your medication, some other dude's with your wife in the mansion, another man's going to hold your daughter's hand on her wedding day. You got me, boy? I'm like, whoa, yeah. And he goes, but if you listen to me, you'll live for a long time. Here's what you need to do. Then he gave me the prescription.
Okay.
So when like this morning, I was out here last night, I did some media stuff, I had a meeting. I didn't want to work out this morning. 4:45. You know what went off? I swear to God, you know what went off in my head? Bella's wedding. Bella's wedding. That reason gets me to not procrastinate on my workout.
Gotcha. Wow.
Awesome.
We have Ed Mylett in the studio. Man, I don't know if you guys feel like injected with like energy or, positivity and all that stuff, but definitely, man, you guys are getting some life lessons right now that most people have to pay for. They have to pay for this. And honestly, me and Nick admitted this was like, we want to get this guy in here.
Oh, thank you.
We don't want to pay for the thing, but we'll get him in. I was like, this is a great trick. Let's get it. This works more often. So next week, we'll bring Tony Robbins in here, right?
I'll hook you up with Tony.
We can't pay for
I'll
it.
hook you up with Tony.
We're poor Mexicans we're still living our dream right now.
Hey, Ed, let me ask you a question. How can we get control of our mind so we can get anything we want in life?
Wow, great question. So, and by the way, when I come across like an expert on this stuff, anytime you meet somebody who's pretty skilled at these things, I want to give everybody hope. It's because I had to learn this out of necessity. Like, I'm screwed up. I'm a worrier. I'm flawed. I'm a sinner. Like, I had to get good at these things because I was so insecure, so shy, so without confidence. I had to build these skills up or I couldn't function, right? So that's why I'm decent at it. But one of the ways you get control of your mind is you have to be conscious of the thoughts you have. So you have to take an inventory of what you think about. Your obsessions become your possessions. So what you begin to think about all the time, you will possess, good or bad. Your problems, think about this. Here's how powerful thinking is. They're like a magnet. It magnetizes to you. A thought is a magnet. And you don't need resources or a plan if you think well. So I just walked this way. I went to get some coffee. And there was a homeless man. I have a real passion for that because I've had homeless people in my family literally because of drug addiction and alcoholism. Yeah. So I talked to the dude.
Okay.
Right? I talked to the dude. And clearly, based on looking at his arms, I could tell this dude's a needle user.
Right.
This dude that I ran into, right? And he doesn't have any resources. He's got no job, but he finds a way to get that drug every day.
Yeah, he does.
You think about that. If you're addicted to something, if you're really addicted, doesn't matter if you have money, resources, a plan, connections, nothing. You freaking find a way to get it.
Yeah.
That's true of the good things you want too. If you can become obsessed and addicted to what you want, even without a plan, even without resources, even without connections, you'll find a way to possess it. So that's the power of the thinking. The way we get control of it is we begin to repeat to ourselves. Thinking gives you an emotion. So the real quick version is this. The quality of your life is the quality of the emotions you experience every day. So if one person, if you every single day experience worry, fear, depression, anxiety, that's a life.
Right.
If you experience joy, ecstasy, passion, peace, love, faith every day, that's a different life. So you need to begin to take an inventory of what thoughts do I have that send me into a spiral where I worry, where I think. These are patterns that you have. And so for me, I'm conscious all the time of programming to myself what it is I'm thinking about because I easily drift to the negative thoughts. The biggest way you control that is the people that surround you. I'm around people all the time who get me thinking the things I should be thinking. And that meant, like I am with my wife since we were kids, but it did mean I had to drop some of my boys I grew up with.
Right.
You know, I didn't rid them from my life, but I just am not as close to them anymore. I'm conscious of adding guys like you to my life that are positive and winning and progressing in their life. They help control what I think about.
Right.
Because Last thing I'll say on that, if you have kids, the highest form of influence is not their teacher. Their teacher has influence on them, right? That's like a mentor. But you know who influences your kids? Their friends. Your kids are going to turn out who their friends are. And when you're an adult, this is also true. You want a mentor, that's great, but who are your friends? That's who's going to influence you.
Definitely.
Hey, Ed, I want to ask you this about teamwork. When you have a team and somebody is slacking or lacking and they're not able to be there.
Hey, Ed, I think this is about me, by the way. Just throwing it out there.
Family issues.
When your team members are not pulling their weight and doing what they need to do, how do you motivate them without shaming them or bringing them down?
That's a great point. So I used to make the mistake of publicly shaming people, which got me nowhere. And so I always say praise in public, criticize in private, right? But one of the things you have to establish with people are like bank accounts. If you've made enough, there was a big issue last week. I don't know if you watched the NCAA tournament. Tom Izzo, the Michigan State coach, he's a friend of mine, screaming at a kid on the sidelines. If you haven't seen it, y'all could take a look at it. And the media is like, oh my gosh, this is not how you should treat kids. And there's an argument that that's true. What people haven't seen is the thousands of times he's made deposits in that kid of belief, and I love you, and you're amazing. And so as humans, you had better have made a bunch of deposits in your people as a leader where you believe in them, you love them, you tell them their giftedness over and over and over again. Those deposits allow you from time to time to make a withdrawal where you go, look, I'm checking you on this. It's called candor. You need to get your stuff together. This is not our standard. And you remind them of the standard, because people don't get their goals in life. That's not what you get. You get your standards. And so as a leader, if you let the standards slip, if you're not candid with people, your entire company, your entire organization will begin to slip to the standards that you allow. So the key thing in being straight with people and calling them out is to do it in private, in my opinion, and to do the sandwich technique. I never criticize without the sandwich. So the sandwich is, you know I love you. I do this with my son or my daughter. You know I love you. Daddy believes in you, right? And because Daddy believes in you so much, you know that I don't think it's acceptable for what you just brought home on that test, right? So let's talk about this. Did you really study? Did you really do? And then we go through the hard part, and at the end I go, you know this is because I love you and believe in you. The same thing is true in business. You sandwich your criticism around two very positive compliments.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah,
we
definitely.
talked about that a couple weeks ago, me and my brother. So yeah, we're just as a team and as a business and where we want to go with our business. We could benefit from somebody like yourself. But for our listeners out there, how do they get a hold of this? You said the book is for free for everybody. Tell them one more time, please.
Yeah, most of my stuff's free. So I think probably the best way to get my stuff is my book. You can get it at maxoutbook.com. And then I don't really sell anything. Like, I've made my money outside this. I'm really the one person in the space where I don't have anything to sell you. Like, my stuff's all free. So I do have Instagram. I've got 1 million followers on Instagram in a year, which is pretty remarkable.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. It's credit to my following, the people, but that's at Ed Mylett, which is EDMYLETT. And then I have a podcast. I have a top 5 podcast and YouTube channel too.
We have a guy in the studio, and I really don't want to bring up his name, but I'm going to bring it up. Can you bring him over here real quick? Because we have a guy in here. He's not really confident with himself. and I want you to do some motivational speaking to our friend Nacho right here. If you can, Ed.
He just recently got his own Instagram.
Yeah,
Nacho does.
So,
I'm going to have to follow Nacho.
I
thought you were bringing Edwin over here, but
no. This is Nacho. He wants to meet you. And
Nacho, good to meet you, brother.
And could you give him some words of encouragement real quick?
Well, in all seriousness, I would tell Nacho, for real, I've never done this before, I would tell Nacho what I would tell anybody listening to this. This is no joke, okay? Okay, and Nacho's not a real dude, but if he were a real dude.
He is real. He's nodding. He's acknowledging you right now. And for those who are listening and not watching, we have a Lucha Libre mask with some headphones on, and he's talking to him motivationally.
Yeah, I'm trying to pump him up.
Have you ever done this before?
No, this is new, man. Thank you. You're pushing me, which is good.
I'll bring him to the podcast if you want. We can take him to Javier's and go get some Mexican food.
I actually like him better than you, so that's good. That's an upgrade.
Damn.
But for real, Nacho, like every dude or woman listening to this, and I'm not trying to be religious with you, but Nacho, you were born for a reason, brother. God put you here in the world to make a difference in the world. You were born to do something special with your life, big or small, brother. You were born to do something great, Nacho.
He agrees.
And so is everybody listening to this. There's something special about you, and you should be doing something great with your life. And that great thing will be to serve other people. I don't know what Nacho's doing to serve other people, but that's what he should be doing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. That is unbelievable right there. I think he take it to heart.
I can tell he seems moved.
I see changes in him already.
That's the lamest shit I've ever done.
Hey, Ed, so you said that, you know, all these things that you had to do, it was out of necessity. But, you know, yes, you received these things, but you didn't have to go out and come here and go out to serve other folks out there. What was that about? How did that come about for you?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that. Well, one, it was an encouragement from Tony Robbins a little bit, but you know what, man? You don't get anywhere in your life without other people. And I'm so grateful for the people that helped me along the way. I was really blessed young, for whatever reasons, to meet some really influential and really successful people who took a liking to me and believed in me. And one after the other, they'd arrive in my life. I mean, and not name dropping stuff, but well, you know, Jerry West, Phil Knight, you know, Sly Stallone. There's been people in my life who have influenced me. And I thought, you know what? I got to about 45 years old, and I'm like, I've had a really great life so far, and I've accumulated kind of an experience. I want to spend the second 45 paying it forward. Nice. And I want to do that. And social media affords me to be that way in millions of people's lives, because it's pretty intimate stuff, right? So I just thought, you know what? I think I've kind of had this great life, and I kind of have an ability to communicate this stuff. I'm going to spend the second half of my life serving people, and I love it, man. Like, honestly, this stage, the last couple years of my life, has been more rewarding than all the jets, all the houses, all the money. Like, really making a difference for another person. I walked in the hotel last night. The guy that checked me in, dude, he starts crying. Right. He's like, man, you've changed my life. And I'm like, I haven't changed your life. You have. He goes, but no, you helped me. And I'm like, that's worth millions and millions of dollars to me, man.
Anytime you can affect somebody in a positive way like that can affect their trajectory. Yeah. You know, and we get that from people that love the show, that listen to the show, or people that say, hey, Baka Boyz, you're the reason I DJ. Yeah. Hey, you're the reason I'm in radio. Yes. I look to you guys. I used to listen to you guys. You guys influenced me to become that, or go after that goal.
And you've also done it for like all the guests over the years that you've elevated and highlighted. You're doing it with me right now. It's like we really do the same thing. We just do it a little bit differently. And that's a key to being happy. Like, find something. It sounds corny. There's a difference between happiness and fulfillment.
you hear the change in music, right?
I hear it. And the fulfillment part is always going to be helping other people, man. So I love it.
You hear that, Eric V? The fulfillment is always going to be in helping other people.
Definitely.
And that goes to all of our listeners out there. I always tell you guys when you're listening to us, go out through your day and be positive. Smile at somebody. Give them a hug. Give them a thank you. Call your mom. Call your dad. Call your friends and say, hey, I just love you. Thank you very much for being in my life.
You're right, brother. But now I love this music. I'm like,
it's the Baka Boyz Show. We have Ed Mylett, strategist, inspirational speaker, entrepreneur. Helping your life get better. Actually, somebody already got the book.
Cool, man.
They were like, we got the book already.
That's cool, man.
I paid for shipping. It's coming.
Yeah, you got to pay for shipping, by the way. You got to pay for
shipping. I think we might have a phone call. Hello.
Oh. Hello.
Good morning.
Nick V, Eric V, what's going on? This is DJ Frank Data from Twitch Mob.
Frank Data, what up, man?
Thanks for calling. So you're on the phone with Ed. If you want to have a question, go ahead, brother.
Absolutely, Ed. Hey, I'm loving the interview, by the way, Ed. I love your passion. I love your energy.
Thank you.
It's very, it really gets us going in the morning. So I just wanted to say I appreciate you coming in. Yeah. But I had a question for you. So, you know, what do you say to those people that are, you know, they want to do what they love, right? They have a great paying job, great salary, everything, but they just want to do what they love. But what they love is not paying the bills.
Man, great. It's funny you say that. I just did, I think it was last week, I did a whole 25-minute or 30-minute video audio on this. And so there's a fallacy in the world right now that says, hey, go make your career your passion, right? Mm-hmm. Which would be great. And that happens for some people. But not everybody's career can be their passion. Like I like baseball. I can't play baseball. Like so it's not always going to be my passion. What I would say is that you have to, everyone talks about having a side hustle. But you can also have a side passion, a side giving, a side something. So it may be that your job pays the bills for now and that you got to go out on the side and maybe, a lot of the side hustles and side passions may not you monetize. Like you may want to, I have a friend, she's got a very successful career. It's not her passion. She's a lawyer. She doesn't even like being a lawyer. But on the side, she spends Wednesdays at this children's hospital that I go to working with these kids who have cancer and leukemia. Like she loves doing that. So I would say the dream life is to find a way to monetize what your passion is, but it doesn't mean your passion has to be your career. There's lots of people whose passions are not their career. And so don't conflate those two things would be my advice, man. Like if you got something you want to really go do, here's what I will say. I'm almost 50 years old now. If you're younger than me, you better go do it now. No matter what age you are, you're getting closer to dying. You're getting closer to not having time to do it, man. Like stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for all the experience. The successful people I know, here's what they have that's really important. Their barometer for their preparation level in order to try something is much lower. They'll go try even if they're
Just
not
get out there.
experienced. They'll throw it out there. They're willing to make mistakes. Average people that have an average life are like, I'm almost ready. The timing's almost perfect. If I could just read one more book, one more seminar, if I got one more connection, and they wait and wait and wait. Whereas winners, man, they just go into the unknown. I work with a race car driver for years named Carl Edwards, who's retired, and he goes, you want to talk about scary? When there's a crash in NASCAR, you're going 200 miles an hour, and all you can see is the smoke. He goes, you know what we're taught to do? Drive right through the freaking smoke at 200 miles an hour, because if you vary right or left, you run into the wall and you're dead. So when there's a crash in NASCAR, this is the best visual I can give you. Can you imagine 200 miles an hour and you're going boom into the smoke, and you don't know that on the other side, there's not a car you're going to hit at 200 and die.
Damn.
But you have to drive through the smoke. And in life, that's the same exact thing. You can't wait for the smoke to clear all the time. It's never going to clear. You got to drive through it, even though you don't know what's on the other side of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Nick V, I think we're ready now.
All right,
Let's do it.
Waiting for this moment. I mean, how am I going to motivate the motivator?
You can't motivate the motivator, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
It is time now. You have walked into a positive cult, which you're part of it. So it's called mouth love. Mouth love.
Mouth love.
Yes, love from the mouth.
3 dudes with mouth
Yeah,
love.
exactly.
This is dangerous.
I know. It sounds
Oh my
awkward.
God.
But hear me out here.
Here's the music too.
Yeah.
In the background.
So Nick V is our instructor now. So he's going to take over the room, and he's going to give us some words of inspiration.
Yeah, everybody breathe in, please. Breathe out. Deep breath in. Push it out. These are positive words for you to take throughout your day, Ed. No matter what happens throughout, you have these powerful words as a shield to help you out, to get through it. Are you ready? Repeat after me.
Repeat.
Today is glorious.
Today is glorious.
I am chosen.
I am chosen.
I honor the light in me.
I honor the light in me.
I don't want to be a player no more.
I don't
want to be a player no mo.
You are in mouth love.
There it is.
I like that.
That's it.
I feel so good
Yeah,
now.
right. You feel better now, right?
I feel way better.
We had to lift that negative cloud that
love
walked
it.
over you when you came in.
3-man mouth love. Nothing better than that.
Wow, I bet you if you looked on Pornhub, you could find that.
Yeah, as soon as the show is over.
Yo, we want to thank you again for coming through, man. It was great. Amazing having you in. Obviously, your book, how can people follow you? Where can they find this book? How can they get it? One more time.
MaxOutBook.com. Ed Mylett on Instagram. EDMYLETT. Thank you so much, guys.
Max out, baby.
Max out.
I love it. This is the one and only Ed Mylett, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause for this gentleman right here.
Great stuff right there.
Radio how it's supposed to be heard. It's the Baka Boyz show.
What's going on? This is Drip.
Every day.